So first there was the saber-toothed tiger.
Uh-huh.
Now there's the mammoth.
What in the world are you getting at?
When is the NHL franchise gonna bring in the sloth as their mascot so we can complete the Ice Age trifecta?
The NHL, yes, can be a circus sometimes, but not that much as you're trying to imagine it can be.
Before you fly off the handle, Johnny, take a deep breath. Does someone somewhere have a voodoo doll collection of this roster? As always, not helping. I guess the season's over.
So, you're just gonna sit in silence?
That was the plan.
Why does it say placed on waivers?
Nothing said. I have to talk about dumb moves and a Preds front office.
What the hell did I just watch?
Do I really need to be here for this at this point?
I'm not having flashbacks to Game 4 against the Canucks last spring.
At this point, Johnny, you can just splice together old intros.
Cutie intro.
Redemption take you home.
Preds lose 3-2 in overtime to the Utah Mammoth on a game-winning goal by Dylan Guenther Saturday night inside Bridgestone Arena. Now, the couple of positives that I'll say right off the hop before I delve into the negative parts. You guys know, if you followed my channel last season, how many times to my frustration I had to follow Preds hockey on the opposing team's feet. And it might very well end up being almost the exact same balance as last year, this year come April. But through 2 games with NHL Center Ice on Thursday against Columbus and tonight against Utah, I got to see the FanDuel Preds feed. Thank you, God! Also, welcome back, Luke Evangelista. Luckily, we didn't have to suffer through too much more until your visa cleared, even though you were on the ice for the overtime goal against, but we'll get to that. And yes, as you heard me and Jersey Guy talk about in the intro, and it's the fact that the FanDuel feed, if you didn't catch it, was still referring to Utah as the Utah Hockey Club. Yes, they are now called the Utah Mammoth. If there was a better name than Sloth for another team, we could have a tournament amongst us three, harkening back to the Ice Age animated film series. Now, this is a Utah club that gets its stats and history brand new, even though it relocated from Phoenix to Salt Lake City. If Arizona ever gets a hockey team again, they are going to get their history back. Don't tell that to Winnipeg Jets fans who still are upset that Arizona Coyotes own their history. Now, for anybody who doesn't follow Utah very closely, let this game be a preview for what is to come this season. This is a Utah club that could very well be on the precipice of getting back to the playoffs. They are going to be a dangerous team to handle throughout the season, as the Preds got a first-hand look tonight. And wouldn't you know it, now that I have to review this game, I forgot that the Utah Mammoth scored the first goal of this game and would end up scoring the last goal of this game. It only took 2 minutes into the opening frame for a bad turnover by Roman Josi, who you want to see him get off to a better start to the season after getting injured last year. Utah goes the other way. It turns into a 3-on-1. Dylan Guenther sets up Logan Cooley. Saros has no chance. It's the back of the net. Utah with the early 1-0 lead. But something nice to see about 7 minutes into the first period, Utah trying to clear. That young kid that we drafted 5th overall, Brady Martin, with the steal, and he sets up Phil Forsberg, who goes down the left wing board and through a partial screen is able to beat Vemelka. It's in the net. Preds have tied this game that quickly, up at 1. Fast forward to under 7 minutes left to go in the first period. There's an upcoming penalty on a Preds player. It's Steven Stamkos for interference on Augustino of Utah. But not just that, he gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I'm going to need to hear post-game what the heck happened for him to get tagged for that. Fortunately, the Preds penalty kill comes through, and they kill off both halves of the double minor. About 90 seconds left to go in the first period. Eric Holla takes unnecessary, I would argue, tripping penalty to prevent a Utah scoring chance. And though Utah comes close, the Preds penalty kill is starting the season off really good on the right foot. And for that first bit of the power play of Utah that would carry over to the second period, the Preds kill it off and we're tied at 1 after 1. Preds fortunately kill off the remainder of Eric Holla's penalty, and things start to go the Preds' way in a second period where the Preds outshot the Mammoth by a total of 8-3 that you thought maybe they could have gotten more out of it. Over 8 minutes in, Preds catch the Mammoth napping, and Steven Stamkos sets up Spencer Stastny, who can't beat Vejmelka. Later on, it would appear that the Preds earned themselves a 5-on-3 opportunity when Ian Cole, right in front of the Utah crease, trips down Steven Stamkos when he isn't expecting it, and he goes falling and unfortunately high sticks Ian Cole, and the refs send them both off? Are you kidding me? I realize you have to be responsible for your stick, but when your feet get taken out from under you and you're holding a piece of lumber that you're using to try and score a puck into a net, what do you expect him to do? Just throw it up in the air when he's tripped? Have a little grace, officials. That all should have been a penalty, and the Preds should have had an extended power play chance there. Fortunately for the Preds and their fans in the building and watching on TV, about a minute later, Preds on the attack again, swarming the Melka's crease, and Eric Holla is in there to dig it loose, get it past the Melka, and the Preds claim their first lead of the game that they have rightfully earned, up 2-1. Utah debates challenging, but there's not enough significant evidence that it would go their way. Preds keep the good things going, even earn a Nick Smoltz minor that they can't capitalize on, but on the good side, the Preds have their lead going into the third. Can they close this thing out up 2-1 after 2? 25 seconds into the third, the remainder of the Nick Smoltz minor still on the clock, and the Preds look to get that insurance market that we all know they're going to need, but Utah wants to challenge for offside, and sure enough, there's no hiding it on the replay. It's Yossi himself who causes the offside. Could have held up a little bit longer and play wouldn't have been interrupted and the goal would have counted, but of course the refs have to call it back. Preds still lead though, up 2-1. Preds penalty kill gets tested yet again when Adam Wilsby gets called for tripping, but the one good thing through 2 games, the Preds haven't allowed a power play goal against. Utah went 0 for 4 in this game. Under 10 minutes left to go in regulation, just when I let myself think, oh, maybe the Preds can get off to a nice 2-0 start to start this season after the terrible mess that was the first 5 games last year. Nope, I spoke too soon. Dursey, who has been in the box and the Preds couldn't score in a power play, he comes out, and of course Utah goes the other way. Dursey sets up McBain for his first goal of the season. Game back at square one. Preds now have a 2-2 game against Utah. Under 5 minutes left to go in regulation. Bruno does some line juggling to put the vets out there, more because the kids may not ready for this moment to try and get that final go-ahead goal. The vets get some chances late. Vejmelka, along with his defenseman bailing him out, keep this thing tied at 2. Preds, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, fortunate to get a point as this game squared at 2 going to overtime. Willie Donick on FanDuel with the stat to start overtime that the Preds were 11-9-8 last year in 1-goal games. Remember, when you combine that 9 regulation losses and those 8 overtime losses, that's basically 11-17. I guess they can only go up from here, even though, I'm sorry, was I supposed to be watching an overtime game between 2 relatively good hockey teams in that 4th period? Because basically all I saw was the Preds acting like they were on a penalty kill the entire 4th period. Whatever 3 men on the ice for the Preds at any given moment looked to seem pedestrian. They didn't record a shot on Vejmelka in that overtime period, and I'm surprised Utah didn't get credited with more. And finally, the Mammoth put the Preds out of their misery. Just over 2 minutes left to go in overtime. I don't know what everyone was doing. Obviously, Luca Evangelista, who was out there on the ice for that game-winning goal, was obviously rusty. And it's Dylan Guenther, the man who set up the first goal of the game in the first period, ends it, and the Preds' dream of an 82-0 season, not that you should ever have that going into a season, is over. Preds do pick up the pity point and lose to Utah 3-2 final score in overtime. Well, at least on the bright side, through 2 games, the Preds have 3 out of 4 possible points to show for it. Come on, let's be serious here. If this was last year's Preds team playing against Utah in this game, they would have been run out of the building, much less lost in regulation. The Preds took until October 25th last year to reach 3 points, so this is a positive going forward. Now, the Preds will go on a 4-game Canadian Thanksgiving road trip. Happy Thanksgiving to any of my viewers who happen to be Canadian. Let this be a bonding experience with the vets, with the young players on this team, and we'll see, after getting his first NHL point on Forsberg's goal in the first period, if Brady Martin can build from it, maybe get his first goal of his career away from Bridgeton, away from the pressure, maybe back home when he plays in Toronto and Ottawa this week. The road trip will take the Preds to Ottawa, matinee game because it's a holiday up here in Canada on Monday. Then they go to Toronto. I would imagine that we'll see a split of Annunen and Saros, perhaps Saros in Toronto and Annunen on Monday in Ottawa, but I could be wrong. Then they go to Montreal on Thursday, and then we'll play on Hockey Night in Canada in Winnipeg next Saturday. But like I alluded to in the first Preds fan reaction of the video, let's not get too high or too low yet. It is only game 2 of the season. We gotta be thankful that hockey is back. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. You can find my social media and interact with me during every Preds game by clicking on the channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption. And lastly, I cannot say this enough. Congratulations to Brady Martin on your first NHL point. We know in Preds Nation you're first of many more to come as you earn our respect and admiration for seeing you work your butt off at such a young age.